Nicki Minaj will have to sell $20 million mansion if she doesn't pay security guard settlement. Good day, broadcast family, and buckle up, because today we are not just talking about a celebrity news story, we are talking about a $20 million legal fire sale where the stakes are higher than a luxury penthouse in Manhattan. We're talking about Nicki Minaj, a Hidden Hills mansion that costs more than a small island nation's annual GDP, and a $500,000 unpaid debt stemming from an alleged 2019 backstage incident that is now threatening to take it all away. Forget a bad review or a charting flop. This is the kind of drama that involves a judge, a gavel, and the very real threat of seeing a pink-splashed, multi-million-dollar estate listed on Zillow. Quick favor, if you're loving this dramatic peek behind the velvet ropes of celebrity finance and legal skirmishes, hit that subscribe button right now. Over 90% of viewers haven't yet. It's free. It literally takes less time than it takes to skip an ad, and it means the world to us. Thanks, if you did. Now back to the show. So, let's set the scene. The year was 2019. The location, Germany. A world away from the sunny, sprawling, manicured lawns of Southern California. Nicki Minaj and her husband, Kenneth Petty, were overseas. An alleged altercation occurs backstage at a concert. A security professional, a gentleman named Thomas Weidenmuller, is the alleged victim. The allegation? That Mr. Petty got physical, resulting in a broken jaw for the security guard. A horrific claim, certainly, and one that quickly spiraled into a civil lawsuit, a legal battle that has been slowly brewing, like an expensive, time-delayed espresso shot, for years. Now, most people, when faced with a lawsuit, have one of two choices: show up and fight it out in court, or settle it discreetly. But in this case, according to the legal filings, the power couple allegedly chose door number 3, the pretend it doesn't exist strategy. They reportedly failed to respond to the lawsuit. And what happens when you decide to ignore the legal system? The legal system, being a stickler for rules and paperwork, responds with a default judgment. It's like being invited to a tennis match and just not showing up. The other player wins by default. In this case, Mr. Weidenmuller was awarded a judgment for the damage he claimed, reportedly to the tune of a cool $500,000. $500,000. For many people, that's a generational fortune. For an artist of Nicki Minaj's stature, it's a drop in the ocean, a rounding error on an album sales spreadsheet. But here is where the plot thickens, where the legal eagles start sharpening their talons. Years have passed. Years where Mr. Weidenmuller has allegedly been trying to collect this debt. Think about that for a second. Imagine winning a major legal battle, being legally owed a significant sum to cover what you claim was a life-altering injury, and then having to play an endless, frustrating game of hide-and-seek with the checkbook. It's like being promised a winning lottery ticket only to find out it's taped to the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. This isn't just about money anymore, folks. This is about principle, persistence, and the point where a person's patience snaps. What happens when the legal equivalent of a debt collector knocks on every door and finds them all slammed shut? Well, they go to the person who holds the biggest, shiniest key, the judge. Mr. Weidenmuller's attorney recently went before Los Angeles Judge Cindy Panuco and essentially said, "Your Honor, we have exhausted every single non-mansion selling option on the board. They've tried to garnish wages, they've tried to tap bank accounts, they've tried everything short of setting up a roadside lemonade stand outside the estate. And they've apparently hit a brick wall, proving that even a $500,000 judgment can be surprisingly elusive when the other party is sufficiently motivated and well protected to avoid paying it." And this, my friends, is where the story pivots from a standard celebrity lawsuit into a high-stakes legal thriller. Judge Panuco, faced with this plea of utter exhaustion from the plaintiff, did not mince words. She essentially said, "Enough is enough. We are done with this game of legal tag." The judge indicated she is ready to grant an application that is one of the most extreme measures in California civil law, forcing the sale of a personal residence to satisfy a debt. Let's be clear about the gravity of this. This is not just a polite request for a payment plan. This is the legal system saying, if you won't write a check for $500,000, we will liquidate an asset worth $20 million. It's like trying to squash a mosquito with a wrecking ball. The proportion of the debt to the asset is absolutely staggering. We're talking about taking an elephant-sized possession to pay a mouse-sized debt at least relative to the cost of the house. The property in question is a magnificent Hidden Hills mansion. For those who don't follow the LA real estate gossip, Hidden Hills is the celebrity fortress, the postcode equivalent of a VIP section at a very exclusive club. It's where the walls are tall, the security is intense, and the price tags are dizzying. Nicki Minaj reportedly bought this property in October of 2022, and it is listed in court documents as her sole property. That's a key legal detail. If it were co-owned in a way that legally protected it, this action might be impossible. But because it's legally hers, it's now legally on the chopping block. So, what is the single, solitary thing standing between this multi-million-dollar estate and a for sale sign being hammered into the immaculate lawn? Paperwork. Specifically, a single, incredibly detailed mortgage statement from Bank of America. The judge needs to know exactly how much of the original $13.3 million loan has been paid down. This isn't just curiosity, it's due diligence. The court needs to ensure that when the house is sold, the mortgage lender gets their legally entitled slice first. The entire concept of a forced sale relies on the legal principle that after all secured debts are paid like the mortgage, whatever cash is left over, the equity, is what is used to pay the judgment. The judge needs a precise accounting to make the sale legally bulletproof. It's a paradox of extreme wealth. A $20 million asset is being held hostage by a missing bank statement that details a $13.3 million liability. This final piece of financial evidence will be submitted ahead of the follow-up hearing scheduled for January 22. That's the date, the D-Day of documentation, when the ruling is expected to be made official. That's the moment when the gavel could potentially come down on one of the most drastic enforcement actions in celebrity legal history. Now, let's look at the financial consequences. It's important to keep perspective, even with all the drama. This Hidden Hills palace is valued at approximately $20 million. The debt is $500,000. Even if the house is sold at a slight discount, the sheer value means that the Roman holiday songwriter will still have a massive amount of cash left over after the guard is paid and the bank is made whole. We're talking about millions of dollars in residual cash. However, the point here isn't whether she can afford to lose the entire sum of the house. The point is the loss of the property itself. A home is a fortress, a symbol of success, and a private sanctuary. To have the legal system force you to surrender that sanctuary for a debt that, for a person of this net worth, is incredibly small, is a devastating personal and professional blow. It is the ultimate public humiliation. It sends a message, ringing loud and clear across the entire celebrity landscape: you cannot ignore the courts. Mr. Weidenmuller's application summarizes the entire desperate situation with stark clarity. It says, and I quote from the court documents, "There is no doubt that the sale of the dwelling would satisfy the entire judgment." That line is the equivalent of a legal checkmate. It confirms that the path of forced sale is a completely viable, though extreme, solution to the collection problem. It's the point of no return. So, as we wait for the January 22 hearing, the clock is ticking, and the suspense is absolutely palpable. Will the final paperwork seal the deal and force the sale of a $20 million mansion, or will a last-minute wire transfer suddenly